welcome to Spooky News from Spooky Ventures for May 1st, 2020. We got lots to get to, so let's get to the news. So I know a lot of people like to go into supposedly haunted houses. How would you like to be locked up in one? Well, in Indonesia, one way they're dealing with people who aren't following their social distancing stay-at-home guidelines is if you're caught, I believe the second time, they take you and lock you into a house in the area, an abandoned building in the area that's supposed to be haunted, and you have to sit through the quarantine there. So, I don't know. It might be kind of cool. You're all by yourself anyway. But have a look. I've got an article about it that gives more information. Have a look at that. And I don't know. Think about it. What would you do if you were locked into a haunted house? Remember, all things Spooky Ventures, and particularly the Spooky Ventures YouTube, are designed to be interactive. So please interact. Like our videos, share our videos, contact us and tell us what you like. If you'd like to see us do something different, let us know. But whatever you do, interact. So, would you like to have a full-size Xenomorph in your house? We're talking an 8-foot statue of the alien from the Alien movies. You can have that if you got $8,000 to spend, because there's a new company. Well, I don't know if it's a new company. It's a new product called Big Bad Toy Store is the company, and they're offering this massive, detailed statue of the alien monster that you can have for just $8,000. I don't know if that includes shipping or not, if they throw in the shipping, but hey, if you got the money to spend and you really want something cool in your house, I'd love to have it. I just don't have the money to spend on it. So maybe you do. Hey, if you want to know where to send one and you want to gift me one, I'll take it. Just kidding. Maybe. You know, we're sort of seeing a resurgence of horror TV, or a renaissance of it, of horror TV right now, with American Horror Story and the house, Haunting of Hill House and those kinds of things. But in the 1970s, there was a big horror TV sort of thing. And there's a new list with some interesting information about different movies from that period. Um, it's well worth checking out. I know I did a video talking about the Kolchak and Dan Curtis connection, and Dan Curtis features heavily in this because he was kind of the king of horror in television in the 1970s. So have a look at the article. I'll also share my review video that I did talking about those things. So you can have a look at that again as well. If you haven't seen it, check it out. There's a new Hellraiser TV series in the works at HBO, which is pretty cool in and of itself. But it's even cooler, I mean, when you consider that the whole Hellraiser universe is a pretty wide-ranging thing that could be used pretty well for a series. And then when they've got writers coming in who have worked on things like Halloween, the new one, and Halloween Kills, and the TV series Heroes, you've got a lot to be excited about. So hopefully this is going to turn out really good. I mean, you never know. It always can go one way or the other, but, there's a lot of promising aspects to this one. You a fan of Stephen King books? How about the movies? Well, Screen Rant has a new list called 10 Stephen King books that are better than the movies. I'm looking over the list, and I haven't read all of the books they list. I tried to get through it and sort of got bogged down in the how large it was and the fact that I kept having trouble keeping track of all the characters that didn't show up for a long time. So I can't really comment on that one. It lists The Shining. Now, compared to the version, the Kubrick version with Jack Nicholson, yeah, I absolutely agree the book is better. The miniseries version, though, I think I prefer, well, I definitely prefer it to the Kubrick version of the movie, but I think I would put that equally at an equal level with the book. Now they also list Trucks, which gave us Maximum Overdrive. Yeah, I remember really liking that. That was a short story, and I remember really liking it. But I like the movie Maximum Overdrive quite a bit too. It's I don't know, it's a product of its time. The special effects leave a little bit to be desired, and it's a little cartoony somewhat in the pacing and production values, but I don't know. I like the movie. I don't know which I prefer, but you can have a look at the list and see what your opinions are. Why don't you leave some comments, whether you agree with these what they say about these books and movies or not. If you've been doing a lot of streaming, like most people these days, probably have been getting through a lot of stuff on Shudder. Well, fortunately, there are some new movies coming to Shudder this week. Well, starting next week. Actually, starting Friday, today. But those are all listed in a new article that I'm going to share. A couple of them that seem to be catching eyes are the first and second Hellraiser movies. Personally, I was never overly crazy about the second. I liked the first one quite a bit, and the third one I'm a big fan of. But the second one didn't do a lot for me, but perhaps it will for you guys. So have a look at the list and see what else is on there and what dates they come out and everything. And happy streaming. Throughout the week, I get a lot of news articles sent my way about horror stuff, and I look through the list, and if something catches my eye or I think it's kind of interesting, that's what I'll wind up including in these spooky news segments. Well, one, a list. You guys know I like lists. From Screen Rant particularly caught my attention because and it's not necessarily because of anything else except that I'm working on a new novel, and the novel's a sort of interesting twist on a home invasion story. And so the list I wanted to share with you guys is 10 underrated home invasion horror movies you can stream today on Amazon. I looked through the list. I don't think I've seen any of these movies. But I think I might check some of them out. You got Amazon Prime. You can stream them and have a look at these movies. Should be some cool stuff. I'm probably going to steer clear just because I don't want it to influence what I'm writing at the moment, although the plot is pretty well planned out in my head anyway. But I would seriously advise you guys to check out the movies. Did you enjoy the movie Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark? I have to admit I haven't seen it yet, but I'm kind of looking forward to seeing it. If you enjoyed the movie, it should be good news that there is a sequel in the planning stages. We don't know for sure if there's an official title or not, and just when they're going to start filming, but apparently it's being written by the same people who wrote the original version, and Guillermo del Toro is producing, so it should be good for those who enjoyed the first one. I would guess that would be very good news. Like I say, I'm kind of anxious to see the first movie, but I haven't gotten a chance yet. And that's a wrap for this edition of Spooky News. Be sure to join us next week for more. Spooky Ventures is the home for spooky content and spooky merchandise on the web. Check it out today at spookyventures.com. And remember, always keep it spooky.